is Lucas. This is a bit of lit, and I'm here to talk about the books I read this month and what I'll be reading next month. I read a whole bunch of books. I'm gonna list them off really fast. I read An American Tragedy by Theodore Dreiser. Incredible novel. Don't recommend it to anybody. Not to gatekeep. It's just, it's about a murder of a poor woman who doesn't deserve what happens to her. I read Violeta by Isabel Allende, from the Spanish flu to COVID-19 and everything that happened in between in Chile, following the main character Violeta. Christ in Concrete by Pietro di Donato, Pietro di Donato, sorry. Really great novel, very colloquial kind of language for Italian Americans, about a son of a bricklayer who becomes a bricklayer and his experiences and the questions he starts asking about, why did I lose my dad? What's going on in this world? Amazing novel. Very socialistic kind of novel. Winesburg, Ohio by Sherwood Anderson. All I'm going to say is that I was so moved by this novel. It touched me so much. It just reminded me so much of living in a small town, and I related to one character who wanted to escape. Didn't know what to do after, didn't know anything about that, just knew that needed to get out. Wolf Totem by Jiang Rong. A student is sent to Inner Mongolia to watch and observe and see how the Inner Mongolian ethnic people live. And also this land was being eyed for development for agricultural needs, which, from what I read, ended up leading, and from what you see in the book, ended up leading to desertification, which I think China is still dealing with in this area. Then I read the Snopes trilogy, about the rise and, I wouldn't really call it the fall of the Snopes family, but definitely the rise. Certainly the rise and fall of Flem Snopes, at least. All sorts of nasty people in the Snopes family. But a really great, dense journey. Made me a fan of William Faulkner, although it was not some of my favorite work. I was able to get it. I was able to see. And then I finished Jailbird, Dead-Eye Dick, Galapagos, Bluebeard, Hocus Pocus, and Timequake, all by Kurt Vonnegut. The last 6 of his novels, starting with Jailbird and Dead-Eye Dick, 2 of my favorites of his books. Although from what I've read in his biography, and what I've seen on Goodreads, where I keep track of the books that I read, this is sort of a downturn after Slaughterhouse-Five. His career kind of takes a dip in terms of the public reaction to his novels. Although I know Breakfast of Champions and Bluebeard are some fan favorites. Jailbird and Dead-Eye Dick are not. Galapagos seems to be a mixed bag in terms of fan favorite, or also a downturn. I thought Galapagos maybe the weakest of the 5 that I like, but his later career, I especially relative to his earlier career, or mid-career, I certainly really enjoyed much more. I thought he was a much stronger writer. Jailbird and Dead-Eye Dick, some of my favorites. Galapagos, not too bad. Bluebeard, a little bit better than Galapagos. I think reading so much, so fast, hindered my experience. Same with Hocus Pocus, and then Timequake, I think we can all agree, should have never been published. It's not a good novel, but it's not like a lot of the novels of Kurt Vonnegut that I hate actively make me angry or annoy me. Timequake doesn't do either. It's just sad to read. It's just mostly disappointing, and I wish it just wasn't published. And I remember reading in his biography that he felt like he had nothing else to say. Of course, years later he published A Man Without a Country, which his nonfiction, I'm not going to say is great, but is generally better than his fiction. That's a very bitter, cynical read. But it's a lot more coherent than Timequake, which is utter nonsense. Now, let's talk about my to be read for the month. I want to really slow down how much I read. I read so much the past couple months because I've been in a reading race in which, as far as I know, there's a couple more hours left to it. But as far as I know, I have utterly crushed my competition. And so I'm going to slow down my reading because, I made a whole bunch of videos, and I think there's a certain charm to the way that I normally make videos. I just kind of turn the camera on and blab, but the videos I'm most proud of, I really enjoy making videos, but the videos I'm most proud of, I took a lot more time and effort to make them good. They don't always get very many views, but some of those, some of my most popular ones are the ones I actually spent time on too. So I want to slow down in terms of how many novels I'm going to make. I'm going to still make regular videos. I'm gonna try and return to Poetry Thursday. I kind of started it, and then I got the idea from Around the Weird, Mr. Nothing. But yeah, I start every so often, then I stop, and I start every so often, then I stop. But I would like to start that up again. I found a really great poem that I want to talk about, share and talk about. I want to add that element, the discussion part, to my Poetry Thursday videos. I haven't really been doing that. Usually I just read, but I'd like to do that. So I'll be doing more Poetry Thursday, possibly sporadically, possibly regularly. I would also like to do some short stories and some other stuff. I've got this big book that I bought a long time ago. I've read through it a little bit here and there, not all the way through. This is an anthology of Chinese literature, beginnings to 1911. I was going to read some of this for some reading event in June, and then I just never got to it. But I'm looking forward to really going through this. I really like modern Chinese literature and also older Chinese literature, and this is to the end of the Qing dynasty, so it should be chock full of great stuff. And the stuff I've seen in here, my chair keeps wiggling, it's annoying, but stuff I've already read in there has been really great, so looking forward to that. And I want to do some short story videos. I think if I make videos about that or this, I will continue to use my phone and do this. Right now I'm going through Go East Young Man, Sinclair Lewis on Class in America, a Signet Classics edition. Very sorry about the chair. It's driving me crazy. Oh my gosh. Nothing. Anyway. Yeah, I just started it. Got my pencil in here. And I just read this amazing letter to the Pulitzer Prize committee about why he's rejecting the prize, or being in the run, the long list for the prize for Aerosmith. Amazing piece. I would like to make a video just about that, but I think another time. Maybe to talk about the Pulitzer Prize as a whole. I have no strong feelings one way or the other but about the Pulitzer Prize, but this was just a really great piece. But I'm gonna be talking about some of the short stories in here. That'll be great. Now, as for the novels, first I'm reading a graphic novel, Saga of the Swamp Thing by Alan Moore, which I'm 2 issues into out of very many, 56 or something. Really great so far. I'm really enjoying it a lot. I think it's amazing, and really well thought out and really cool and creative, and the images are really well put together, and yeah, I'm I'm liking it so far. That video I'm gonna put a lot of pictures and put a lot more effort into, because I want to put more effort into at least the videos I make about novels. I'm gonna spend more time to, you know, write out my thoughts and get them more clear. I think that, like I think I said it earlier, I think there is a certain charm to, you know, just turning the camera on and going. But yeah, I'm most proud of the videos I spend a lot of time on. And also, they happen to do better. Not always, which can be frustrating, but that's okay. A lot more people tend to interact with those videos. They get to hear more of people's opinions, which is what I would like to hear. So the other novels that I plan to do besides the graphic novel Swamp of the Saga of the Swamp Thing would be the last novel of Virginia Woolf's that I own, which is Orlando. It's not the last novel of hers for me to read, but it's, I believe, the last novel. I think there's one or two more I haven't read yet. I have a whole bunch of her novels, and I've read through all of them except Orlando. I'm looking forward to reading this. I always love, maybe Between the Acts I didn't really care for, but always love Virginia Woolf, whether it's To the Lighthouse, The Waves, some of her nonfiction, Mrs. Dalloway, anything. Really great author, and I look forward to going through her work. The next novel that I want to do would be The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead, who is, coincidentally, a Pulitzer Prize winner. Yeah, I was convinced by another booktuber, supposedly fun, was talking about Colson Whitehead, and I thought, I don't think he talked about this book, but he was just praising him. I think he was talking, did he win for this one? Oh, this won the National Book Award and the Pulitzer Prize. He must have talked about this one. I don't remember. I just remember him talking about Colson Whitehead. Did he win twice? I think he won twice. Maybe he was talking about the other one. I don't remember. But I'm looking forward to reading this, and yeah, definitely was convinced by Supposedly Fun to read. So, to read Colson Whitehead. I don't think he talked about this one. But I'm going to read Roger Zelazny's Lord of Light, science fiction masterwork, which is like an Eastern religion, science fiction exploration, and mythological exploration. Winner of a Hugo Award for Best Sci-Fi Novel of the Year. I'm very excited to read this. A good friend of mine from work has recommended it. Hasn't said anything, wants it to be new and fresh for me. And I think, I think after Swamp Thing, Saga of the Swamp Thing, I will start this. And then, I don't know which one I'll start after that. But the other thing is, now that I have finished the Who is Kurt Vonnegut series, I'm thinking about who I want to do next. I would put this on the community board thing, but I think you have to have 500 subscribers to use it. It used to be 1,000, I think they dropped it. Maybe anybody can use it now, I don't know. If I can, I don't know how to use it, but I'm thinking I would leave it up to the audience. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to tackle... Actually, I think what I'm going to do is repeat myself twice. What I think I will do is tackle sort of 3 different authors at once to give myself a kind of, instead of just doing one, who I ended up hating very early on, and it just made it a drag. I think what I will do is I will do Ernest Hemingway, who is another author I don't really like, and I find immature, but I think he's a much better writer than Kurt Vonnegut was. Even later Kurt Vonnegut, when he's better, I think Ernest Hemingway is, I think he's a great writer. But he's very immature, and everything's about death and sex, and it's annoying. So I want to do Ernest Hemingway and go through his novels, and I think I might actually do his nonfiction. Although I know one of them is about bullfights, so I don't know if I really want to read that. And one is about going on a safari and killing. We'll see. But I will do his novels, definitely. I think there's only a handful, not too many. And on top of that, I will do his short stories, because he's known for his short stories, and his short stories are great. Now then, to balance things out, we've got two chauvinistic men, Vonnegut and Hemingway, so let's balance it out. Instead of doing things in order, like I did for Kurt Vonnegut, I will do them in order for Hemingway, but I will also do Virginia Woolf, but I will start with Orlando, and then I will go to her next book, or her first book, or whatever, and her nonfiction and stuff. And then the third person is going to be Octavia E. Butler. And again, I will go out of order because I've got a whole bunch. A Lilith's Brood novel, or trilogy, Imago, Dawn, and Adulthood Rights. And yeah, I really want to get to these. I love Octavia E. Butler. I'm really looking forward to reading that stuff. And I think having these, I've got the Hemingway books on some of them anyway, on my Kindle. I think kind of balancing things out a little bit more that way. And if I'm going to take my time with them, should be much more interesting. That was what I intended to do with the Vonnegut novels, and then I hit an immediate roadblock of boredom with Player Piano, and then anger. Oh, this book is good. Anger. I lost count. Just so many bad books. But yeah, those are the three authors I really plan to tackle: Virginia Woolf, Ernest Hemingway, and Octavia E. Butler in the future. We will be seeing these in the near future. I don't know when, I don't know where. And we might not even, I might go back to Bloodchild in the middle of that. And I might not even do Virginia Woolf in order, because I've got a whole bunch of her novels. I'll just kind of pick and choose. I'll try to save Mrs. Dalloway for last, because that's my favorite so far. Maybe Orlando will be my favorite, I don't know. But anyway, that's the plan. The Who Is trilogy, I suppose it is. Who Is series is going to continue as a trilogy. Or not as a trilogy, into 3 different branches. Which will all be going through, I'll be going through all 3 branches slowly, and that's okay. It took me 9 months almost, or 8 months to get through Kurt Vonnegut's novels, and he had 14. And it will help me to not just read boom, 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 boom. I'll get a taste of this author, a taste of that author. Anyway, I like it. I want to put more time and energy and effort into those videos, which is what I wanted with the Kurt Vonnegut. That's why I put so much effort into the explanation of who is in the first video, and then the editing wasn't very good, but that's okay. It was a trial. It was a trial run. Picked an author I ultimately didn't like until the end of his career, which is where everybody doesn't like him. I've talked enough. We're gonna read The Underground Railroad, Lord of Light, Orlando, short stories from Go East Young Man, and some works from an anthology of Chinese literature, beginnings to 1911, and some other poems for Poetry Thursday. Thank you. Goodbye.